Hello and welcome back to episode 44 of the Personal Trainer Portal podcast. Today we're talking about 3 strategies we would do differently if we started again. But first, I've got a few interesting facts for you, Pete.
Wow, this is a new segment to the pod, and depending on how well these facts go down, this could be just a full-time new section.
I know. So, number 1, women find men with cats to be on average 5% less attractive.
Now, I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Agree.
What
Are you
are
going
your
to tell
thoughts
me
on
this is true? This isn't a true
No,
pod
yeah.
before I get dug out on hating cats or anything. I think with this, I've got nothing against cats. I have grown up with cats. I know you for a fact, and don't know if we'll get bogged down in this, but Lewis and animals don't go.
No.
He's not scared of them. He nearly dies with, what do you call it when you're allergic? Being allergic to it. And yeah, mad. But anyway, and I'm sure Lewis will fill you in on this, but it really did affect his childhood. And that maybe explains why Lewis is like Lewis. But I think with cats, I think, have you got any facts on men with dogs?
No, all I've got is
in comparison.
I don't have any other sub facts within the fact. All I know is that women find men with cats to be on average 5% less attractive. So anyway, that's the first fact anyway. Have you got anything else to say about that?
I'm just going to jump in and say I've heard that men with dog, women find 40% more attractive.
Yeah, I'm sure that's anecdotal evidence, but I can imagine that would be true. So, second fact, it's quite funny, this one. A man who is 5'6" tall needs to earn an additional $175,000 per year to be as desirable as a man who is 6 foot.
Yeah, I can definitely buy into that one because I feel there's a lot of tall. Well, even going back to the women, I'm sure with the women,
it's a good job you're a baller, isn't it?
I'm like 4'2". No, I'm not that short. I'm average height actually. Only average in height. But yeah, I can understand that one. Yeah, I think it's that. Do you not think people that are a bit taller, have a bit more of a commanding sort of dominant position, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the thing is with that one is that obviously women find men who are 6 foot and up attractive over someone who was just 5'6", for example. But it's crazy to me that you have to earn $175,000, so it's that 140 grand in pounds per year more just so that it's a level playing field. That's mental.
It's a bit mad that, and I don't think as a society that says a lot about us. I feel that's not great, is it?
No, it's not. So anyway, that's the second fact. The third fact is men have nipples because of the origins of embryos, which begin life in a gender-neutral state.
Wow. That was a contrast to the last two. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it makes you think like our nipples are literally, they have no reason for them. They're just pointless.
Well,
as a man.
There's a few things, isn't it? Like appendix, they're pointless.
Yeah.
But back in the day, they must have had a purpose. But and of course, with the appendix as well, that can be really bad for you. If your nipple goes wrong, not as bad for your health.
No, as a man.
As a man. But what I would say with the nipples is, can you imagine not having nipples?
Well, you can't, can you? Look weird.
No.
You know, though.
Yeah. What you're saying is we need children to be born, male children, boys to be born without nipples, and then people would just get used to it.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Well, like I said, at the origins of life, when we're embryos, we're gender neutral, mate. We're non-binary. We're fluid as fuck.
I've got a bit of a fact. I haven't got the exact fact, but it goes along the lines of that. What hand are you handed? So, if you're left-handed, basically the fact is that left-handed people generally have a lower life expectancy than right-handed people. That's male and female, because the world is set up for right-handed people. And as you get older, your balance goes, doesn't it? You fall more when you get very old. And you have these accidents, and obviously the whole environment's set up for right and you're left, and you struggle more and causes accidents, death from there. So there you go.
You know what it is? I try and facts which are not too trying to put you down or anything. And then Pete just comes around with, if you're left-handed, you're going to die soon.
Well, it's funny actually because my partner Ruby is left-handed,
Is
and
she?
when
Gone.
she's a I know, and when she gives it large, we're having a bit of banter, and I feel she's getting on top on the banter scale. I'll just say, "Well, you're left-handed, and you're going to die before me, so put that in your pipe and smoke it."
So there's that one. You know
Wait,
what?
so
I'm gonna read another fact. I'm gonna give you a bonus one.
we've got a bonus round.
Yeah. So Netflix is a time saver compared to normal TV. People who watch Netflix over normal TV save on average 160 hours per year.
Oh, easy because you don't have the adverts.
Exactly.
You don't have the faff of going, oh, I need to put the next episode on. It just goes automatic, straight in. And I get quite a bit of abuse for this at home because when we're watching the normal, I've got a real thing at the minute. I don't know if it's the age I am, but I just get fed up of adverts now.
Oh,
And
do you know what's annoying me at the minute? Sorry to interrupt, but YouTube adverts, it does my head in. Literally, just before this podcast, I'm watching a YouTube video and there's fucking 3 adverts in the middle. It's why? I don't want to watch your YouTube adverts.
yeah, that is really annoying. You've got to click the skip ads, haven't you? After a
Yeah,
little bit. But after you've got into it a while and you've been watching it for a while and watched a few videos, that I'm sure the adverts get longer. But yeah, with TV, I've started, if we're watching something on catch up, I'll just fast forward the ads and Rubes will be like, what are you doing? Can't believe you're doing that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's adverts. Do you know what I mean? I want to get into the program.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm gonna leave the fact. I'm gonna leave the fact there, and I'm gonna end this segment of the podcast on a motivational, inspirational question. Okay. So if you're a character, you're ruining it.
I was going to say we're not ending it on left-handed people die early.
No, we're not. No. So
It's very best.
if you were a character in a book, what would the readers be screaming at you to do with your life?
Do you want me to answer this?
No. You don't need to answer it. It's just one for people to process and think about. So what that essentially means is there's probably something in your day-to-day life which you probably should be doing or not doing. And to other people, it would seem obvious.
That's quite deep, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel this as well. You could use this in people's love life as well, because
It could be
we all know someone that maybe picks the wrong person consistently. And if you applied that question, if you were in a program about your love life, what would people be screaming out? Go for a nice guy might be one.
Yeah. Fucking adverts, a new program.
Don't have a cat because it puts women off.
Earn a lot of money if you're short. Anyway, let's get into today's podcast. So what we're going to talk about is 3 strategies we would do differently if we started again. So if we could roll back the years, rewind, as Craig David would say, pull it all the way back, rewind all the way back to 2015, what we would do differently. So I'll go first. The first thing I would do different, I'm saying we've collectively come together, me and Pete, and decided on 3 strategies here. It's not personal. It's just what we would do collectively. So the first one is we would create a conversation conveyor belt system. You don't need me as a listener, if you've listened to at least 3 or more of our episodes, to go into too much detail about this, because we speak about the conveyor belt system quite a bit. And what I mean by this is, when I first started out at the gym, I didn't have a clue how to effectively and consistently pick up clients. I thought that I could just speak to people or people would just come up to me on the gym floor to pick them up as a client. What I would do if I went back is I figure out what works in terms of what I need to say to people, how I need to say it, and what I need to do to lead people down the line of becoming a client, as opposed to just that people will come to me advertising on Instagram and trying to sell my PT too soon to people on the gym floor and hoping I was just going to pick up clients. I'd create something which I knew worked and I knew that people would buy into, essentially.
I think from what we said before we hit the record button, we sort of agreed on this, that the whole idea of the conveyor belt, that's just the name we've sort of given it, isn't it? But it's conversation, because I think we were both guilty of looking for some shiny marketing strategy that was going to get us clients, or being naive enough to think they come to you. You don't have to do anything. You just got to be on the gym floor. But we should have been having conversations. We did have conversations, but then we didn't know what to be saying. So if we could rewind, as you said, we should have been coming up with a script, a loose script of what to say, getting to know people, being that friendly face, but then also not just, not having any sort of structure to those conversations and how you could lead those conversations in a way that would get you a client. And that is what the whole conveyor belt system is about. It's about taking them from day one, when you introduce yourself, finding out what their problems, struggles are, and then moving them along, adding value. We didn't have a clue about adding value back then, did we, Liz?
No, it was all just about getting clients by any means possible. It didn't matter how we were going to get them. It just meant get clients. But if you actually look at it from a third person point of view and you think, how do you get clients? Well, what I need to do is I need to provide value. Right. Well, how do I provide value? Well, I need to show someone or give someone something which helps them. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, you're on the gym floor. You've got access to hundreds of thousands of different people, potentially on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis. I'm going to have to speak to them. Well, what am I going to say when I speak to them? Well, you need to introduce yourself. You need to build up know, like, and trust by asking them what the goals are, asking them what the struggles are, and actually finding out more about them and being relatable. So when you break it all the way down, this is somewhere where I would focus, and I'm sure Pete would agree as well. I would focus on the very initial foundation of the creating clients, because it's all right knowing how to deliver a consultation, but if you don't know how to get them in a consultation, it doesn't mean anything.
And when I started out on the gym floor, I'm not too bad at talking to people. I'm not the most comfortable with it, but it's not the most uncomfortable, thing in the world. But I say hello, pass the time with people, but I probably didn't have the structure or plan in place to then use that, they know me sort of thing, saying hello, I know they're called so and so, but I didn't have that structure or idea or know of how to add value to that to then take it further. It was only further down the line. So this, like what we're talking about now, if we could have had this podcast played to us on day, it would be a massive help.
Exactly. So that's number one. That's the first strategy we would do, is create a conversation conveyor belt system. Number two, what would you say, Pete? What would you say is our second thing we would do?
Well, I know for a fact that, I for one was guilty of this, and I think Lewis will agree that he was, that you go into it and you don't have any goals other than to get clients and make some money. And you probably have done no planning, whether that's planning if you're going to work in a commercial gym or if you're going to work in a private gym. But have you looked down the line and gone, well, how will my business, myself, look in a year's time? If I go and work in a commercial gym, the rent is X amount, or if it's high, how's that going to influence me in a year? Is that going to make it, hard for me to break even and build a business because I'm chasing something and it requires me to work so many hours? Well, you haven't even planned for that. You haven't, set any goals around that. If you know you need to do 10 hours a week to break even, to be covering your cost of rent, you can then work around that. You can plan for the future. Well, we put structures, systems in place. How can I get more clients? How can I get up to 20 hours a week? Then you're covering your rent and you're making some money to pay the other bills or to have some money to spend. If you haven't done any goal setting or business planning, growing your business and being around for the long term is going to be more of a struggle. Were you guilty of this, Lewis, when you started? Did you have goals set out? Or?
No, I definitely didn't. Well, I suppose I had the broad goal, as I'm sure a lot of PTs do listening to this, is just I want to get more clients and I want to be fully booked.
Yeah.
That was the only goal I had, and I'm sure a lot of PTs do. But going back to what I said before as well, you don't know how you're going to do it. You
No.
just know that you want it. And as you said there, coming back to all the little things, the more you break things down, know what you want to achieve, know how you're going to go about it, is massive. It's like the first step. I'd recommend any PT listen to this to break down your 1 year goal, your 1 to 3 year goal, and then like your longer term 3 to 5+ year goal. And then once you know what your goals are, break down how you're going to be able to do it. What actions do you need to take to be able to get to that goal and achieve that goal? Because at the end of the day, it's all right having a goal, but if you don't have the habits, the structures, the strategies in place, then it's just a dream. I think there's a difference. So, for example, if you've got, it's 1st of February today, as of recording this, by the end of 2022, if I was a new PT and I was like, well, by the end of the year, be earning a good amount of money to the point where I'm comfortable. I want to have a fully booked diary to the point where I'm not running myself into the ground. I just want to do 20 PT sessions per week, for example. That's where I want to max out. But I'm currently doing 7 PT sessions. I would be like, right, I've got 13 sessions I need to make up. And how am I going to do that? How am I going to pick up these clients? Well, I know that if I need to pick 6 clients 1 or 2 times per week, I need to speak to a good amount of people every single week, because I know that the more people I speak to on the gym floor, the more value I deliver, the more the more conversations I deliver with prospects, the more likely I am of picking up a client. So I would set the micro goal of speaking to 15 people per week. And that isn't going up to 15 people and selling your PT services. That's going up to 15 people. And it could be a lot more than this, by the way. If you're someone who will speak, and then you can set this to 15 people per day. It all depends on what you're comfortable with. But at the end of the day, the more people you speak to, the more chances are you're going to pick up clients. When you set a goal of speaking to 15 people per week, for at least maybe, let's just say 50% of them, 7 or 8 of them, are going to get back to you and you're going to get them into a consultation. Well, out of 7 or 8 of those people, if you have followed our systems in actually knowing how to deliver a consultation, but at least 7 or 8 of them, maybe 20%. So let's just say maybe 2 of them will sign up to your PT. So you've broken that down. So you know exactly how many clients you need to take on, how many people you need to speak to, how many consultations you need to deliver, and how many conversions you need to make from those consultations to turn them into clients. So once you break it down all the way like that, it's like, all I need to do is speak to 15 people. Obviously, providing you're saying the right things. You can't just speak to 15 people not knowing what to say. So I think, summarizing what I'm trying to say, is that break down what your goals are and how you're going to get there.
I think as well, just touching on what you're saying there, Lewis, is set these goals, short, medium, long term, but then you work backwards. After you've set the goal, work backwards to how you achieve that. Because if you just set a goal and you don't plan how you're going to get there, it's just pie in the sky, isn't it? It's just up there and it's a pipe dream. You love that. But yeah, it's just a pipe dream then. I could set, an ambitious target, but if I just set that and I don't really put any thought or work backwards from that and what your daily jobs or goals or tasks are, you're just not going to hit it. You're not going to hit that goal. You're not going to achieve it. And for real growth, you've got to be hitting those goals and you've got to have planning in place, because otherwise, like Lewis said there, if you're talking to 15 people a day, you can then get a gauge on how many of those 15 people convert into a client. And then you can look at, if you're not converting many, is that because what you're saying to them isn't hitting a note, or you're getting into their problems, into their struggles and giving them a solution? If you're not, you can then tweak what your script is and what your conversation's like. Does it need to be planting the seed more? Whatever it is. But if you don't have a measure of what you need to do daily and tick off, then really you're never going to hit those medium to long-term goals, are you?
Well, a good example is, I know what I want us to achieve for personal trainer Paul. So I know that long term, I know what our goals are. I know what our goals are medium term, 1 to 3 years. And I know what our goals are by the end of the year. For example, by the end of this year, our short term goal for PTP is to have a good few customers coming through enroll onto our course. And the reason for that is so we can grow PTP as a business and help as many gym floor personal trainers earn more money, get more clients, and reduce the stress. And I know for a fact that that's the goal, but I know I need to do, and Pete needs to do specific things to be able to get that. For example, like doing this podcast. We know that doing a podcast, the more people who listen to this, the more people are going to know about us, the more chance you are of listening to this, to want to actually work with us. So just putting the example for myself, I'm doing this as well. So I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, so we do the podcast, we do the social media, we talk to people. Those things daily are going to help us get more clients. It's looking at your daily tasks, breaking the big goal into smaller chunks and then ticking them off that'll sort of get the momentum moving and get you sort of growing your business, which is what we want you to be doing. Lewis, are you going to touch on the third point?
Go for the third point. The third,
Mastering.
I would say, is mastering your offer. So what I mean by this is you're probably, when you get to the point where you're selling PT, you are in a consultation and you are selling purely a block of 5 sessions, block of 10 sessions, or pay as you go. Okay. But the problem with this, what I have found as well, is that you're not actually selling an end result. For example, you're not selling a specific outcome for a potential client. So what I would do if I could go all the way back to 2015 is I'd know exactly what my offering was to anyone who came into a consultation. I would know exactly what they are going to get. So say, for example, if someone was in a consultation with me, I'd be like, well, I run a 12-week package, which is going to kickstart your fitness for a beginner. So if you're a beginner, and obviously I would know that because I've got them into the consultation, then this is how we're going to get you to the point by the end of the 12 weeks where you've lost a little bit of weight, lost a little bit of fat, gained strength, etc., etc. And this is what's included. You be able to see me each week, so you've got that accountability. You're going to have structure through the training programs, and we're going to make sure that you achieve X result by that time, because I'm going to make sure you do. So we're going to remove all the inconsistencies, the doubts, the lack of structure which you've currently got, and you're going to feel better than ever. As opposed, so I would say this now, as opposed to what I used to say and what you're probably saying in a consultation is, I do 10 sessions or 5 sessions. It's £30 per session for 10 sessions, which works out £300, or £35 for a block of 5, which works out at what, £175. Which one sounds better? Which one is more appealing to a client, a potential client, should I say? More people are much more likely to buy into your offer if you're selling them an outcome as opposed to just selling a block of time, because they can visualize what's going to be involved in it, how they're going to get there, and what they're going to achieve by the end.
I think a good thing to sort of feed into that mastering my offer point that you raised is the first point we mentioned was that conveyor belt, those conversations you've had, the meaningful conversations, those open-ended questions. So let's say Dave's come in the gym, you've introduced yourself, said hello, and you've got to know that some of his struggles, what they are, might center around nutrition and consistency of training. Okay, we've just picked them as an example. You've got them after weeks of talking to them, giving them some help. You maybe had a follow-up, maybe done a taster session, and then you've got them into a consultation. Like Lewis said, you're getting across some of the features of that package in your head, what the package is, what the benefits are, but then using some of those conversations you've had and some of those struggles, you can then tailor that consultation to show the features that you're offering will benefit Dave in his struggles, his personal struggles, not someone else's struggles, his struggles, whether that's accountability. Why is that important to Dave? Well, you would then sell that. And if you know your package in Dave, because you've had the conveyor belt conversations and chats, you make it more tailored and you make it less cookie cut. There'll be a number of PTs out there that will go into a consultation, like Lewis said, they might be just telling them set amounts for blocks of sessions and not really into selling the result, and probably just, listing a load of features. Well, I'll message him then to make sure you're still there. I'll give you a nutrition plan. I'll give you a list of food to eat, and I'll give you a training plan when you're not with me. And it's, well, that's great, but that's just a list of features. That's not a list of features that benefits Dave. If you say, well, you're going to have that accountability. I'll be messaging you. I know you've mentioned in the past that you struggle when you come to the gym on your own. That's, filling Dave with loads.
Yeah, you're tailoring it to him.
Dave's thinking, well, Pete or Lewis, whoever's doing the consultation yourself, they get me. They get my struggles. They get that I need accountability. He's given me a nutrition plan. Well, Dave, we're giving you this nutrition plan because you've told me you struggle with nutrition. Or maybe it's the amounts you're eating. Well, you've got a list of foods, how much food you should be eating, what to eat at certain times, stuff like that. Oh, Dave, that's great, because now I've got a plan. I've got a nutrition plan. I know how much to eat. That was something I struggled with. And Dave's thinking, bloody hell, this is exactly what I want.
Exactly that. So knowing what you are delivering to a potential client is going to be massive, so they can visualize what it'll be like to work with you. The more people can visualize it, the more likely they are to buy in with you, as opposed to just immediately selling your time or trading your time for money. People don't care what the features are. People just want to know that they will achieve the end result. Okay. So we've spoken about 3 strategies there about what we would do if we first started out back in 2015 again. Yeah. So we've spoken about creating a conveyor belt system to create clients, goal setting and business planning, so we know exactly what we want to achieve and how we're going to achieve it. And number 3, we would master our offer so that once we've got people into a consultation, for example, we knew that we would convert more people. So if you want to actually know how to set all of these up and the intricacies of getting someone from a complete stranger to becoming a client so that you don't need to struggle with any of that anymore, you can go to the link in the description of this podcast where you can look at our PTP 12-week course. Or if you're listening to this, we might actually have out by then our free training webinar, which revolves all around this. And you can hit the link in the description for that as well, so you can find out more, where I will talk about in depth, and that'll be completely for free as well. So hit the link in the description and you'll find the information for that, so you can sign up to the free training webinar as well. Also, we're going to go with a little cheeky ask for you as well. Rate the podcast. Go on, you want to.
Well,
Rate, and preferably 5 stars. But if you don't rate it 5 stars, that's completely fine. We just want your honest opinion, and we want to know that you are, well, obviously we'd like it if you're enjoying the podcast, but if not, just give it a rate.
I mean, after those facts you gave today, Lewis, I think it has to be a 5-star.
Hashtag not just a PT podcast.
Cheers, guys.